My 5 pillars are sales, marketing, operations, people, and mindset. Every business growth challenge falls within one of those umbrellas. Now we need to go unpack that, right? We isolate the issue, we isolate the pillar, and then we unpack within the pillar.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi, and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nuske here, and today I have somebody very special on the line with us. I'm with the wonderful Cory Mosley. Welcome to the show, Cory.
Hey, Rick, thank you. Super excited to be with you and all your listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you and I were just briefly touching on some of the topics we're going to be covering today, but just for everybody who doesn't know much about Cory, let me give you a bit of a background. He's an award-winning business strategist, speaker, coach, and for the last 2 decades, he's been dedicated to helping entrepreneurs, small business owners, and corporations grow. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, but we're also going to be talking about how he's authored 2 books and a long list of other exciting topics. Cory, I love to just start off by learning a bit about my guests. It's obligatory. We need to separate the business, which is really just the mechanics. We know that much of this doesn't change too much, but the thing I find that is unique is the individual. So I'd love to start off by learning where is home for you?
Yeah, everybody's got a unique story. So I'm based in the U.S. In a little state called Virginia. Is where I'm from. So. That's where we, do most of our business, and that's kind of our scope. We do work with our clients all over the country, as well as Canada too.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, given the basis of your business, would you have the opportunity to go global and serve others online? Yeah, 100%. I mean, we run a coaching program and a training program for business owners. So that really doesn't matter. We're not restricted by the lines. There's a currency exchange, right? Yes.
Once you get out of the U.S. But other than that, it's the same fundamental business principles that we believe in: sales, marketing, operations, people, or mindset. All of your business growth issues are going to fall under one of those umbrellas.
And I'd love to talk about the pillars of that later on, which you have outlined on your website. Now, in Virginia, what's one of the major landmarks that people would know?
Depends on the history, right?
Okay.
So there was the headquarter of the South in terms of those times, but our moniker is Virginia is for lovers.
Yes.
We've got the world famous Virginia Beach. We have a lot of museum activity here, and I'm sure there's some official things I should know that I probably don't.
You're not alone.
Full disclosure, Rick, I live in Virginia. I'm from New Jersey.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. So you've not always lived there, obviously.
No, absolutely not. I was born in New Jersey, and then ended up in Virginia. Went back to New Jersey, and then came back to Virginia. So that's been the yo-yo for me.
A bit transient, like many of us. I also like to learn a bit about your early days growing up, and we all have some fun times. We have some struggles that we remember, but I'd love to bring out one of your most fondest experience growing up as a child. What can you remember?
Well, I will tell you. Listen, I'm a professional speaker, so believe me, we've got our story already ready to go, and so I'll hop right into that. I always start by talking about my mother and thanking my mother. She's still alive, but I thank her because most of a child's belief systems are shaped, at that adolescent level. And what my mother did, which I give her a lot of credit for, but I'm also honest by saying she wasn't doing it on purpose. But what she did for me was she never created restrictions.
Yeah.
So, Rick, there was never a scenario where you couldn't have that dream, you couldn't believe you could do that. There was nothing I couldn't do or I couldn't be. I didn't have those restrictions. A lot of parents, unfortunately, impart their belief system, particularly if it's a negative belief system or not as an open belief system, they impart that on their children, or they try to tell their children what they should be, right? I.e., you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, an engineer, So she didn't do any of those things, which really gave me an open playing field. And I will have to tell you and your listeners, I'm probably the only person you ever meet. We had a show in the States called L.A. Law.
Yes, we have
that was
it here.
on in the 80s. Okay, yep. So
we're getting the reruns.
Yeah. I'm probably the only person you ever meet that at 13, my favorite show was L.A. Law.
Oh, wow.
So
really?
I thought I was going to be an attorney. That's what I wanted to be. I watched him on TV. I wanted to be Arnie Becker, the divorce attorney that had the great Brioni suits and drove the Bentley.
Of course.
And that was going to be my deal. Now, the problem with that, Rick, is I went into a law program at 14, and my mentor always looked worn out and tired, drove a beat-up Mazda, was $200,000 in debt, to school and law school, and had the grand idea that he would just work 100 hours a week for the next 10 years and hopefully become partner.
Oh, awesome.
I quickly learned I did not want to be an attorney anymore.
Become a parent.
Yes. So at 18 years old, I entered the auto industry because the auto industry was an area where you quote unquote, have unlimited income. I was a communicator. I'm a talker, as you can probably naturally see. So when you take 18, unlimited income, and I get to talk all day, it kind of was a match made in heaven. The bonus that I had, Rick, was this was just about the time that the internet was coming to be as far as automotive. Going online, looking at cars, submitting leads. So if you are the youngest person working at a car dealership and you know how to turn the computer on and the internet's been invented, you now de facto become in charge of all of that stuff.
Wow.
So that's what happened. I became in charge of that stuff, and over a few short years, I learned some techniques and tactics and some strategies that worked. I formed a consulting company that we took to 7 figures. And really what I learned after working with both auto dealers and manufacturers, I signed my first, Volkswagen's big over there where you are. I signed my first corporate client. They were my first corporate client at the age of 27.
Yep.
So after years of doing that, helping big organizations make millions of dollars, helping auto dealers, I said, you know what? I need to be doing this for the rest of the business community, and that's basically what we've been doing ever since.
That was the genesis. I was actually going to ask you how you got involved, and you've just simply revealed it for us. Now, you speak fondly of your mum and how she's helped you fly, as it were. But as you were growing up, there must have been other formative figures in your life, other mentors, maybe other male figures. Who was around in your life that helped form the person you are today, do you think?
I would run this in 2 parallels. I would say on the personal side, my uncle had a great impact on me in terms of understanding, and he's still with me to this day, of understanding, looking the part, feeling the part. He got me interested in things that are, my interest in I wrote a letter, my grandma still has it, that, when I was 12, I wrote, I will drive a BMW. I will, that was an influence from my uncle. He drove a BMW. He always was well groomed. So very rarely will you see me in any kind of disheveled state, right? And you're never going to see it in public from that standpoint. So, he taught me those things. Smell good, wear cologne. I have 30 bottles of cologne because of my uncle. I blame him for a lot of my good and bad habits, right? So on the personal side, my grandfather, my grandparents, those were strong influences on the personal side. Being a giver, giving of my time, wanting to help people, wanting to do things that don't always have a financial return to them. That came from my family. On the business side, that really was a big trial and error period. But there was a guy named Bob Friedman who since passed on, and he was a retired CPA that was in private practice, so like family office kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? So he had retired from the big firm, and he had a small office. When I was 21, I had a small office. Co-working spaces are really big now. WeWorks and those things are popular. So not before it was in vogue to do that, we had those kind of private office spaces, and he, for whatever reason, took a liking to me. and would just give me advice on, managing finances, give me advice on clients, and actually brought me, at 20, I'm going to say I had to be 2021, brought me one of his clients, and we had to save their $1 million contract. So here I am, it was Y2K. They were a IT firm. They had a big contract with what was Bank of New York at the time, or Mellon Bank. I'm sure those names are familiar to you. And they had to do this RFP, and they had to do all this stuff. And he knocks on my door, and he says, "Do you know anything about this stuff?" And first rule of business, always say yes.
Even if you don't.
And then you figure it out, right?
I don't have the answer, but I'm going to find
it. Whatever it is, Bob, I can help you with it. And that it was such an interesting thing, because what I found, and I always stress this to people, is, Rick, you always want to look at the areas where you do think things come natural to you.
Yeah.
So me being in a meeting and going through these areas and helping them map out the strategy there's no school that could have taught me that. There was just a natural skill set of diagnosing and digesting a problem and coming up with a solution. And it was so easy for me to do that work. And one of the things he taught me was to pay attention to the moments where none of it feels like work, and those are the things you should be doing. So me talking to you right now is so easy. I'm sure you have guests who are nervous, and they come on and they're trying to talk about their stuff or whatever. You're trying to extract things out of them, but it's so easy because this is natural. Working with a business owner, coaching, these things are so easy because they were natural, and he helped me see that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I am absolutely loving this call, and the fact that you've mentioned how easy this is just makes it much even more easy to get some great content through to the listeners who are made up of small to medium-sized business owners, entrepreneurs who are just starting on their journey, Cory. So thank you very much. Now, you strike me as somebody who has an attitude of gratitude. How important is gratitude in life and in business?
So, I subscribe to the school of thankful, never satisfied.
Yeah.
So thankful for everything I have, thankful for everything that I'm able to do, thankful to get up every day, but still wanting more. Now, wanting more, not being born from greed, but wanting to help more people, right? You've got listeners all over the globe here. Maybe they can't do direct business with me for economic reasons, for across the pond, whatever, doesn't matter, right? If I can share something today that could be valuable to impact them, that's super important. So I'm a big believer in that, and that goes back to the origin of conversation about my grandmother. My grandmother was a giver. To this day, she's just a giver. She wants to give in any way that she can, and she instilled that in me to do that. So that's why I'm here, and I'm a big believer in gratitude. Now, Rick, I think people need to be honest with themselves also, right? So there's ranges and levels, right? So I'm not up at 5 a.m., spending 20 minutes, praying about gratitude. That's not my deal.
Yep.
And that's great for people who do it.
That's fine.
But that's not my deal, right? I find my way. I say thank you every day. I say my message, and I participate in charity boards and different things like that, so I can continue to give.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I know that education must be high up there in the priority list for you. I notice a range of books behind you. What is your modus operandi when it comes to learning, and how important is ongoing education for you personally?
Well, ongoing education is a top priority for me, because I have business owners all over the country who are looking to me.
Yeah.
So part of what we do with my academy is becoming the single source. I think so many business owners become overwhelmed because they've, and I'm not a guru, but they've got 8 gurus that they're following. They're in 8 programs. They're in 8 Facebook groups. They're in 8 courses. They're in all this stuff, and they become actual full-time students that don't run their business. So I become, in a lot of ways, not only a coach, but an educator, where we do our training on the topics that matter most, in the current business climate. So I have to be. I'm reading my Business Insider. I'm reading my Bloomberg's. I'm looking at, I've got audiobooks we've got shortcut,
Yep,
shortcut versions that are out there. I'm immersed in all of that because people are counting on me to be able to curate. I have no problem giving credit. If I've learned something from somebody, I'm going to pass that along. But I am a curator of information as much as I am of original thought. So people are counting on me. So I have no choice. When COVID hit, people were turning to me.
Yeah.
What do we do with the, in the States, right? The PPP and the money. And I had to research that, stay on top of that. People were counting on me. So it is part of my DNA to be consuming information and learning information constantly.
Cory, I just had something come to my mind in terms of the curriculum that you share and coach businesses on. Does it talk about time away from work and relaxation, recuperation? Do you have a focus on that at all?
Oh, well, listen, self-care is the new buzzword for that, right? So it used to be work-life balance, used to be the buzzword, now self-care. But I think that's super important. Now, the truth, though, is that my best friend works for the Postal Service in the United States. And, we laugh because I say at 5:01, he has no thought about his job, right?
Clock off.
Yep, he clocks out, and he's not thinking about work till 8:30 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs and business owners, we don't have that luxury. So it's not so much a balance as it is your lifestyle is also your business. Just as if you would plan a meeting or go meet with a client or work on something and block that time, you too need to simply block that time to not be working.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're doing,
and that has to be included in it. So,
yeah.
Rick, you have no problem finding me getting a massage or a facial, or I'm secure in my masculinity. I get my toes done.
Very nice. Very nice.
My wife does not want crusty feet rubbing on her.
Yours too, hey? I need to go and get a pedicure, I think, now. I'd love to ask you, when you're doing what you do, you obviously love what you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. But what's the one thing that stands out for you the most, the thing that gives you the most reward and enjoyment?
Oh, the wins. When someone, we had a client the other day that literally called me, that sent me a video crying. He's crying in the car because he just closed his largest deal and he got the client to pay up front for the year.
Congratulations.
So
awesome.
Yeah. So he was, so he was just so overcome with emotion. He's literally crying and sending me the video and thanking me because we reworked his pitch and his proposal and how he priced and packaged his services. He sells consulting services. So, and he followed the directions, and that was the result. So getting that, or getting those type of messages, hey, we just closed this deal, or, Cory, you told me to have patience, and, I'm glad I listened to you because now this happened. It's the wins. I mean, that's what's super, super exciting for me.
Excellent. I always think about strategy, and sometimes I talk with people who get really caught up in their mind about strategy, and they find it difficult to process. Can you give us your take on what strategy is and how it can be simplified so those who are not experienced in doing any of it can understand it and get some effect from it?
I mean, really, simplify it. It's, what are you going to do? Right? If you were to really break down strategy in a non-academic way, right?
Yep.
Strategy is what am I going to do to get the outcome that I want, right? So you want to increase sales by 25%. Well, the strategy is simply, what are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to increase marketing. I'm going to market over here. I'm going to put this kind of offer out. I'm going to raise my prices. It's the strategy is filling in the what to get what you want. And ultimately, I always tell people, sometimes you just have to dumb everything down to the ridiculous, as we say.
Oh, yeah.
So get very granular and chunk, whether, some people call it chunking, but people get overwhelmed by the big picture. They go, I want to make $1 million. Okay, before you make $1 million, you got to make $10. Then you got to make $1,000. Then you got to make $10,000. So I think being able to, I'm a believer in, I teach micro goals, right?
Yep.
And a reward. So I'll give you a nugget, an acronym that I use. It's CAPI, C-A-P-I. Celebrate, assess, plan, implement.
That's excellent. I sit here and I think to myself, you've talked about all of these things that you're doing. I also read in your bio, which is very, very exciting, you referenced the new economy. Can you explain to the audience what that actually means from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, things have changed, right? Everything's changed. The rules have changed. Brand loyalty has changed. People that used to stick with one thing are now open to other things. Things that used to be institutional have now become disrupted. And things that you didn't think you would do, products that you would consume, where you would buy from, how you would buy, has all changed. If you owned a restaurant and did not have online ordering or ignored the online ordering when the pandemic hit, you got punished. I call it punishment. The market punished you because you weren't prepared. So now you have to rethink. People have to rethink what their business model was. I'm in the speaking world. Many of the people in the speaking world, I'm actually currently the president of the National Speakers Association for the state of Virginia, and I work with speakers who relied on traveling, relied on doing 80 dates. They traveled the world. A good friend of mine, Scott McCain, he comes to Australia. He was coming to Australia every year to speak and things of that nature. And of course, that stopped.
Stopped, didn't it?
Right now, that's when an entrepreneur really gets excited, because those guys didn't go get under the covers and turn off the lights. They reinvented themselves. They said, okay, great. How can we, everybody's on Zoom now. How can we repurpose our content? How can we start new programs? How can we create value that then creates revenue for us? And that's what people have been doing.
See, the pandemic, if I may, the pandemic has affected people's lives economically, psychologically. And I wonder, in the darker times in our mind, what do you say to those people who are struggling? And do you see brighter days ahead?
Yeah, so I believe wholeheartedly a couple key things. If you're in business, sales should be up, your customers should be raving fans, your team should be evangelists, and cash should be flowing. If those things are not happening, it's because of a breakdown in one of those 5 areas that I talked about earlier. So if you're struggling right now in your business, you've got to attack that piece. It's not wait for the market. You've got to come at it differently. You had a event hall where you need to think about how you can add virtual programs. I attended a virtual wedding. That wedding planner, that organization didn't just give up because 100 people couldn't come anymore to their event hall. They leveraged technology. They learned other ways to charge for their services, maybe not at the same margin. So I don't want anybody, right? I don't believe anybody should be down in the dumps right now, to be honest with you. No matter what your segment is, everybody is using technology or coming up with different ways to pivot. We started a coaching program dead in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
I didn't go, oh, man, nobody has any money, and nobody can afford this or anything like that. People needed help. People needed answers, and we went completely virtual and started a program and turned that program into a 6-figure business for us very quickly, and then now continue to scale it. But I don't accept the the pandemic. Oh, coronavirus.
You're not a victim.
The pandemic. I don't accept that attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't accept it because that is giving you an opportunity, and it's not a platitude. Oh, don't make excuses. Be tough. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm saying that there's too many people winning. There's not enough people who are in trouble to then say trouble is the prevailing issue. Because if you looked left, every time somebody said, oh, COVID to me, I said, well, what about these 4 or 5 people over here that are crushing it right now?
Yeah.
What's the difference? The difference is they are pivoting and executing in a way that you are not right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. That's about adaptation, innovation, and looking for the new opportunity, because there certainly is a lot of it, isn't there?
Yes.
I'd love to talk about your speaking experiences because I know a lot of people struggle with it, and they get scared by the classic public speaking. Has that changed? Has that dynamic changed for when you go online and do talks?
Yeah, I think people who are, you'll find this hard to believe, but I also err on the side of extrovert. Yeah, I know. Nobody believes that, but come show up at a networking event and watch me, and you'll see I'm completely extroverted. I will not talk to anybody that doesn't talk to me first. I'm completely, that's just a complete thing. So I don't know that this has changed. Maybe it's allowed people to feel freer to talk because they don't have the audience here, right? Now, I mean, I feed off that energy. I mean, I have to put myself in the state. I mean, you see my energy is coming across.
No, I can feel it.
Yeah. But so imagine if there were 500 people in this room.
Oh, yeah.
There's nobody in this room right now, right? So imagine if there were 500 people. So I think it has given some people ways to get more comfortable because they're not looking at people. And then now you have things, I don't know if it's global yet, but you have things like Clubhouse now that are voice only, right? So now you got some guy in his bathrobe just waxing poetic on the line, So I think I don't know that it's changed people's communication skills, but maybe it has created a more safe harbor for them to get involved.
Thank you for sharing. I'm loving this call, Cory. We could go in so many directions. This is a very deep and expansive topic, sales, marketing, mindset, speaking, all the rest of it. Now, I would love to pivot, if we might, and talk about the 5 pillars in some, greater level of detail. Could you share, again, what they are and what they mean to your clients?
Yeah, 100%. So my 5 pillars are sales, marketing, operations, people, and mindset. Every business growth challenge falls within one of those umbrellas, right? So, we're not getting enough conversions. We're not getting enough leads. Okay, well, that's obviously a function of the marketing. Now we need to go unpack that, right? We isolate the issue, we isolate the pillar, and then we unpack within the pillar. Is it your marketing message? Are you marketing to the wrong people? Is it your branding? Then we go and we work and we kind of work that siphon to then pinpoint the issue, and then we take some corrective measures to fix it.
Yeah, fantastic. Because there's a lot of time that I have personally wasted in my life trying to work out a lot of these things on my own. What do you say to somebody who is just starting out, who is young and has an opportunity to fast track their success? Do you think it's wise for them to invest or try to do it the hard way?
Yeah, I am not a proponent of DIY. I'm not a proponent of being as they say, the chief, the cook, the bottle washer, the everything. Mm-hmm. That's not my deal. So I think that I would rather people be better prepared funds wise before coming to the market. Work your job, save your money, then launch your business versus I just got to break free and launch my business and I've got $500 in the bank, right?
Not going to happen.
Right now, Cory, because if you just had money, trust me, that doesn't always solve the issue. That's why the average lottery winner is bankrupt within 7 years of winning the lottery, because it wasn't just the lack of funds that created their problem, right? It's still a decision, it's still strategy, it's still tactical stuff. So young or old, people coming into the market, need to be prepared because, Rick, I'm not in Bali right now with my feet in the sand with my laptop while my Stripe account just makes a lot of noise on my phone. Yes, I'm working. You're working. Your listeners are working in their business. The candy store owner right now is making candy at their store. The landscaper is outside mowing the lawn of the commercial property of somebody's house. We're working. Business owners are working.
Yeah.
So it's important to have that mindset going in and be financially prepared for, what may or may not happen, because I will tell you, and this is particular, probably the younger people also, but a lot of entrepreneurs, is this impatience factor.
Oh yeah, instant gratitude.
Right? Yeah. Oh, Cory, you're everywhere now. Yeah, that only took 15 years.
Yeah, the overnight success story.
Yeah. It only took 15 years to become an overnight success, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, because we can waste time, or we can and see it as an investment, and I think that really brings me to the pointy end of the call and your website. So I'd love to talk a little bit about what that is, where people can go to find you, and because I'm sure a lot of people will want to reach out to you and start working with you. So where do they go?
So easy to find, CoryMosley.com, CORY. I'm sure you'll have it on the video, but CoryMosley, CoryMosley.com. We've got a 15-day business growth video series that's 100% free that we drip out to you. So, every morning at 8 a.m., at least 8 a.m. on our end,
Yep.
You get a new video for 15 days, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and it covers each of those 5 pillars 3 times. So we go through those 5 pillars with 3 videos on that. So it's just a really nice and easy way to get introduced to some of my philosophies and strategies. And one of the things that I teach, Rick, is give value first. So that's my gift of value. Spend 15 days and decide if I know what I'm talking about or not.
Yeah, fantastic. I know that you have an enrollment process as well. Is that to go into your core program, and is there some sort of a waiting list? How does that work?
Yeah, so right now we have a wait list going. So my academy, Cory Mosley Business Academy, that's our full program where I do live training every week, and we do live coaching. So people come on, whatever issue they're dealing with, whatever they're stuck, stalled, stagnant areas in their business, we come on live and we work on that. So we'll be reopening that probably in the next few weeks for our spring, summer.
Well, that's excellent news for everybody who's on the call today. If you are stuck and you're looking for a way out, you need that guidance, and you are wanting to invest your time and money wisely, I'd be certainly reaching out to Cory and his wonderful team at CoryMosley.com. I'll be leaving all of the links back to that website. And with all that being said, Cory, what a wonderful call. Thank you for joining me on the My Future Business Show today.
My pleasure. Glad to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.